5 seconds remaining.
Hello everyone and welcome to NizCast. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday night. We've got the Semi-Pro Cup Series to cast as we do every Sunday, and we're just casting the finals tonight as there's been a lot of Dota today and I was watching a lot of Dota. Went for a little bit of a nap, so didn't exactly catch the semi-finals. I made sure I was here for the finals though, but yeah, we've got a finals here, and we've got some pretty good teams that have been knocked out a little bit earlier on in the tournament. We've got our previous champs, the Boys Unheard. They got knocked out in the first round where they went up against Hup Holland Hup, a team name that I think you guys will probably recognize from a little ways back. So Hup Holland Hup took that series. Then we also had Hup Holland Hup in the next round go up against a team by the name of Wings Gaming. And Wings Gaming, the roster is showing Futz Wings, Zero Wings, Sparky Wings, Lonely Wings, and Noble Wings. So obviously a pretty formidable team. Hup Holland Hup took that one as well. Then they got into the next round. They beat up against Young Gaming. Not sure who was on that roster. But then they got into the semifinals where we had Watermelon go up against Big Dick Dota. Watermelon took that, knocking off our 2 week ago champs and making it to the finals. So Watermelon Delight's going to be one of our teams on the Radiant side here. And then Hup Holland Hup played up against Orbit in the semifinals, and Orbit knocked them out. So we've got Orbit on our Dire side, Watermelon Delight on our Radiant side, and that's how we got here into the grand finals. If you guys are new here, you can head on over to semiprodota.com to find out everything about the tournament and all that, so you can find out if you want to enter and compete next week's completely free open tournament. So every Sunday we do this starting at 5 p.m. Eastern, and it's a lot of fun. If you're new to the channel, first of all, hi, I'm Niz. Welcome to NizCast. But we just have a best of one here for the grand finals. Nothing on the line, no prize. We do have a prize the last Sunday of every month, but of course this is not the last Sunday of every month, so just no prize, just some good practice and some good fun for everyone involved.
5 seconds remaining.
But I mentioned there was a ton of Dota today. There was Epicenter, obviously finished earlier today, and oh my goodness, the production that they put on in Moscow is just unbelievable. Epicenter, it just raised the bar in terms of production level for big events. And if you haven't seen anything about it, if you haven't been on like our Dota 2 or anything like that and found anything else about it, definitely go find the VOD and watch it. Even the intro going into the grand finals was just spectacular. Just seeing what they did with the stage and everything, it was really, really awesome. And I hope TI can be anywhere near that good this year, because you know I had a lot of fun at TI 5 last year. I'm going to TI 6 this year, and if it's like that, it's going to be so hype, and it's just good. This is great for things that are coming to esports. I'm really excited for it. But let's get into talking about our draft here. We've got Nature's Prophet and Tinker banned out by Orbit, and Marana and Alchemist banned out by Watermelon Delight. For our first pick, we had Axe, overall first pick. He eventually got paired up with a Phoenix. And Orbit, they picked up the Faceless Void and the Lion. As for our second round of bans, we had Anti-Mage and Wind Ranger banned out by Orbit, and Lone Druid and Clinks were the bans for Watermelon Delight. As our third and fourth pick are in for Orbit, it's going to be the Winter Wyvern and the Death Prophet, and Watermelon Delight still waiting on their fourth, but they've got Invoker as their third overall pick. So what do we have so far? Faceless Void, typically we see him being run as the offlaner. Lion and Winter Wyvern, both supports, although I played a game with my friend Indie Bear when the patch first hit, and he's just like, I'm going to play this thing mid. So I don't think we're going to see Winter Wyvern mid, but it's typically run as a support. But some people think maybe it could be run as a mid. We'll see. Death Prophet is the hero that we expect to be in that mid lane, and we're still waiting on the safe lane carry for Orbit. As for Watermelon Delight, looks like the Invoker's going to be in the mid lane. We still don't know actually between the Axe and the Phoenix what's going on there. We have seen Phoenix kind of be picked a lot recently, and I think a lot of that has to do with his versatility. Obviously, it's a strong hero, but his versatility and in his ability to either run as an offlaner or as a support. And by picking that earlier in the draft, you don't let your opponent know much of your strategy, much of the direction, much of the information of that pick that you have for the Phoenix and what you plan on doing with it. And it also gives you flexibility as well. As you get further on in the draft, you see what your opponent is doing. You see, you know, kind of the heroes that you've been able to add on to your draft, and then you can kind of morph the Phoenix into either, you know, is he going to be the offlaner or is he going to be a support? So not exactly sure this game so far. Now we see an Elder Titan getting picked up,
5 seconds
which
remaining.
throws another whole wrench into things. But I think right now it's probably most likely Phoenix offlane, Elder Titan support, and Axe in the jungle as a greedy position 4. But we could see Axe in the offlane and Phoenix being the support. We could even see Elder Titan the offlane. That's way back. That's like 2 years meta back. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see it. I'm expecting Phoenix offlane, Axe in the jungle, and Elder Titan as a support. So both teams looking for their safe laners. As Orbit have banned out the Huskar
Reserve time.
as our 5th and final ban, and we wait for Watermelon Delight. I'm just going to quickly make a note here while we wait. And it's going to be a Dro Ranger getting banned out by Watermelon Delight. So my Spectre is going to be the final pick. There we go for Watermelon Delight. So once again, wait for level 6. Once Spectre hits level 6, expect the ganks to pick up from Watermelon Delight. And Spectre constantly keeps haunting, and every single time that's going to be off cooldown, they're probably going to be looking for a gank or trying their best to at least find an opening for that. But yeah, we're waiting on
5 seconds
Orbit,
remaining.
and looks like they might take a little bit of time here, but my desk right now is an absolute mess because I was playing earlier, and at the start of the game I spilt a drink on my keyboard. So the immediate panic went in of, uh-oh, I need to clean up this. So I'm taking Kleenex and like shoving it in between the keys. I'm trying not to feed. And I'm like hitting all the buttons, everything's going. It was a disaster. But then afterwards I ended up unplugging my keyboard, popping out all the keys, cleaning it all up, and it's been a while since I cleaned my keyboard, if I ever have cleaned this keyboard. I've had it for a while, so there was a lot of stuff that had to come out of that, so I really took it all apart, cleaned it right up, and put it all back together while I was watching Epicenter, actually. And I gotta tell you, it feels pretty damn good right now. It feels pretty damn good. The keys feel crisp, but everything around where the keyboard is right now, quite the mess. So, what are they thinking here? Orbit. The biggest pick, probably still in the pool, the one that we see picked most commonly, is probably going to be the Slark. Yes, Ember Spirit's still in the pool. He's another common one. Lycan is one that we've seen played a little bit more. I think he was played in the finals. Epicenter. But yeah, it's not one that we see too often. We do see it from time to time, but not super often. He's definitely not one of the most common picks. But we saw it a little bit in the Dota 2 Canada Cup. We've seen it a little bit in the Open qualifiers as well. So it's a hero that teams are interested in. Teams are definitely feel comfortable with picking. And we're going to see it here in the grand finals for Orbit. It's going to give them a lot of pushing potential as well. You've got the Death Prophet with Exorcism. Of course, Lycan with his Wolves. And his Howl makes it very easy for
10 seconds remaining.
their team to be able to push down towers. Which is exactly what you want to do against the against the Spectre. And the other big thing is that they've got a Void. With Chronosphere, you're able to lock down a target and hopefully pick up a free hero kill. And you can even do the same with Winter's Curse on Winter Wyvern. So they've got the ability to get those pickoffs, and on the back of one of those pickoffs, then you just push and take a tower on the back of it because you've got so much push potential with the Exorcism and with the Wolves and Howl. So look for them to do that. So that's going to make for an interesting timing, actually, because, like I said, we're waiting for level 6 on the Spectre. Once he has level 6 up and we start seeing Haunt getting used and Watermelon Delight looking for those kills to help accelerate their Spectre's farm by giving them that extra boost of gold and to some extent experience. But then on the Dire side, on Orbit side, then we've got the same kind of thing. They want to look for a pickoff, and if they can get a pickoff, then that means they can just go and push a tower on the back of it. So look for Orbit to try and invade the Radiant side of the map, try to get a pickoff, and then immediately try to push a tower. And even if they have to blow Exorcism in the team fight or in the gank, that's perfectly fine because it'll still be up when they go to push the tower. As long as they're trying to fight on the Radiant side of the map, they should be fine in that regard. If they're on the defensive and Watermelon Delight's being the aggressor and Orbit manages to win the engage, then it might be a little bit more difficult for them to push down the lane and get to that tier 1 tower or tier 2 tower, depending on what stage of the game it is, and bring down that structure. But either way, that pretty much once we hit level 6 is when we're really going to start seeing a lot of action in this game, or we hope. You know, these finals or all the games in the Semi-Pro Cup Series are pretty eventful and pretty action-packed. We have seen some pretty crazy games. Like 2, almost 3 kills a minute kind of games. I'm not saying we're going to see that here, but we've seen some pretty ridiculous Dota in this tournament. So we'll see if this will be that action-packed. I don't think it'll live up to that, but I don't think it'll be the most passive either. I think there is somewhat of an advantage that Orbit could maybe exploit, and that's with pushing early before Watermelon Delight's ready. Like I said, they want level 6 on the Spectre, but they also want the Blink Dagger on the Axe. The Blink Dagger on the Axe is very, very important for their initiation. Obviously, they can start a fight with Earth Spirit, Elder Titan. I always mix those two up. Elder Titan getting a stomp off and sleeping some targets, and then they can engage onto that. They can Icarus dive in with Phoenix. That's not really the best engage. And they've also got Tornado as well to kind of lead into a team fight. But the primary one is going to be blinking in with the Axe and getting a taunt off. That is a really great way for them to initiate the fight. And they want to be able to do that before level 6 comes up on the Void. Because once those level 6s start coming up on Orbit, it makes it a lot more difficult for them to get those early pickoffs. But I think that's something that Orbit may just be able to exploit and punish Watermelon Delight because they've got that greedy position for Axe. And of course, we see that Orbit didn't go with that greedy of a support, so they could maybe push and take down a tower and capitalize on the fact that Watermelon Delight went that route. So unfortunately, guys, we're still paused here. I'm moving away from the fountain. The sound is getting to me. But we'll just listen to some Dota music in the middle of the Radiant base here. So guys, if you're ever a caster, when you've got a story, like your stupid keyboard spilling stuff on your keyboard story, or even stuff like talking about Epicenter, don't use it all when you're in the draft, because if you come out of the draft and there's a game is paused, then you've got nothing to talk about. So you make up these little stories about how you have nothing to talk about to fill space. What is Moonlight Bay saying here? So what can VP do to improve your chances of winning Manila? Ooh. I'm actually really excited to see the Manila Major as well. There's been some good majors in terms of the quality of Dota, and of course Shanghai was, I mean, a lot of people calling it the Shanghai shit show, but Shanghai was just a complete disaster when you look at majors. But I think that it was a perfect example for everyone to see exactly what not to do and how critical everyone is in the Dota community, or at least the vocal majority or vocal minority, or I don't even know, of the Dota scene on Reddit. How critical they are of little things like that in events. And they've been looking at every event since then very, very critically. And Epicenter's been received with such high regards that I'm really looking forward to what they have planned for Manila, and then, like I said, in turn TI as well. But we have resumed. We've got our player. Lion has joined the game, so let's introduce our teams and our players and get started with the Semi-Pro Cup Series Grand Finals. On our Radiant side, we're going to have Watermelon Delight. We've got Tyrannosaurus X. He's going to be playing the Phoenix. Blood Ninja is going to be on the Invoker. Tango Wango. That's going to be a fun one to say. He's going to be playing the Spectre. Zag is going to be on the Elder Titan. And Osis is going to be playing the X. On our Dire side, unfortunately, they haven't tagged up, but they're going by the name of Orbit. We've got Speed playing the Faceless Void. Moonlight Bay is going to be on the Winter Wyvern. Pip-Boy 3000 playing the Lion. SD is going to be on the Death Prophet. And Colors is going to be playing the Lycan. Of course, guys, I am Niz, and you're watching here on NizCast. And this tournament is hosted by NA on semiprodota.com, so you guys can go and check that out. But looks like we are getting set here. The horn has sounded. Our runes are about to spawn, and we've already got heroes next to each other, both flapping their wings.
The battle begins.
Phoenix and Winter Wyvern. Winter Wyvern bravely running up the ramp there. But we won't see an engage just yet, as both bounty runes get split, but not by our typical heroes. We've got Death Prophet picking it up in the mid lane, but the bottom one was picked up by Spectre, as we actually have Invoker going back and doing the blocking. We typically see the support do this, and the mid goes and gets the bounty rune. Blood Ninja doing his own blocking, getting less support than usual. But we'll see how it pans out for them. We got Invoker in Death Prophet squaring off in the mid lane, and both those bird dragon things are also hanging out in the mid lane, as it's the Phoenix and the Winter Wyvern. But they'll probably move away from the mid lane and go to a different lane as time goes on. We're going to have Axe in the off lane going up against a safe lane farming Lycan, babysat by a Lion. In the bottom lane, it's going to be an off lane Faceless Void going up against a safe lane farming Spectre, and Elder Titan doing supporting duties down there. And now we've got the Phoenix making his way up towards the top. So we look like we're going to have a duo lane up here for now against a tri-lane, because here comes the Winter Wyvern. But what I like about this, and one of the trends that we've really seen, is when you run Axe or even Tide or Doom or something like that in the offlane, once he gets a few levels, you can very, very quickly say, all right, let's take him out of the top lane, drop him down into our safe lane, or sorry, into our jungle, and have him farm up. As Zag taking a lot of damage here from the offlane Faceless Void. As we're even going to have a time walk forward. Zag going to pop his healing salve, and Dagger's going to get thrown by Tango Wango to slowing down speed. But you can drop your offlaner back, put him into the jungle. Now he's got a few levels. He can farm the jungle pretty quickly, and then one of your supports, you rotate into the offlane, or in this case, we already have the Phoenix up here. He stays in the offlane, and he's just able to soak up a whole bunch of XP and get a little bit of gold as well. And it just kind of takes your greedy pick and capitalizes on that greedy pick even more. So it's not just the fact that your offlaners being able to hop into the jungle and farm, but you're also getting an advantage on your support as well. Speed, once again, time lock away in the bottom, as he's going to pick up a regenerate. We still have Moonlight Bay kind of watching over mid here. His career is going to bring in the bottle to SD. So far, SD having a little bit of an advantage here. 12-3 CS compared to Blood Ninja's 9-2. And there we go. The creep waves are now equal. So we see still that slight advantage for the Death Prophet. In the top lane, Osis taking some damage here, but so is Pip-Boy 3000. Little bit of a body block there as Osis was trying to back as Tyrannosaurus was coming on in. But still won't see our first blood, as both Both sides take a lot of damage, but no one going down. Now Zeg wraps in behind on speed, and he wants to get a little bit of revenge, but once again, he's losing out on this trade. As this faces Void, already level 4. Like I said, level 6 is going to be pretty important for him. Let's actually take a look at Spectre. He's level 3.5, so he's getting there as well. Wait, Tranquil's completed on the axe, so he could easily go back in jungle now and do it very, very quickly and effectively. Well, it looks like we're going to see him stay up here. And them being an aggressive dual lane here, going up against the tri-lane, allows them to even contest just by the nature of their heroes. And it makes it difficult for Orbit supports to really do anything else on the map. They pretty much have to stay up here, because in a 2v2 lane, I think Watermelon Delight's advantage here. Nice taunt's going to get a couple spins, and we're going to have our first blood. As Lion's going to go down, and Colors looks like he's going to fall as well. The Cold Embrace heals him up for a little bit there, but eventually he comes out of that, and we get some spin procs on the axe, and they're just going to dive the tier 1 tower. And it's going to be a triple kill. And it's going to go to the axe. Unfortunately, it's going to go down to the tower hits there. But great start to the game here for Watermelon Delight. As they find a couple kills there, or 3 kills, a few kills, I guess. And that's not what you want to have happen when you've got an axe on the other team. An offlane axe, and he gets 3 kills like that. He is in a fantastic start now. Look at his gold, 1,000 gold already after his Tranquil boots, and we're just less than 5 minutes into this game. He has greatly accelerated his Blink Dagger timing as we've got Zeg heading back to the fountain there. He's out of regen, and Speed is once again exchanged blows with him, and once again Speed is 1 out. So we got level 5.5 now on Faceless Void. This Chrono's going to be coming online. This is giving a little bit of space for the Spectre to get some solo XP, so he's just hit level 5. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we've got both heroes should be level 6, as we got SD and Blood Ninja both there. We've got SD sitting at 27 and 4 CS, still leading. 22 and 5 for Blood Ninja. Interesting. Osis Wang electing to pick up the Vitality Booster. I don't think that's going to be a casual Vitality Booster. He's probably going to build this into a Vanguard first, and then he'll go into completing his Blink Dagger. So once again, that's going to delay his Blink Dagger a little bit, but it's also going to help him to kind of snowball out of control in this game, which is something that you really look for a hero like Axe when you pick it. It's a very snowball-oriented hero, and if he's able to get a really good start, he can get dangerous quickly. We've got our 6-minute rune spot. It's going to be double damage, just getting secured there by the Winter Wyvern, but we've got maybe action brewing in the top lane as Lion. Pip-Boy 3000, he's in behind Tyrannosaurus X and Osis, but now he's going to come out of the trees and show himself. But oh, maybe that's going to give a little bit of comfort here to Watermelon Delight, but they need to be careful. SD and Moonlight Bay are rotating up. It's going to be a 4v2 here, and they're going to go on the axe, and Phoenix is going to do everything he can to try to keep Osis alive, but it's not going to be enough. Blood Ninja TP'd on up as well, as he's going to drop an EMP and get a couple attacks in on the Moonlight Bay. Tornado's going to drop him down to 42 HP, but just not enough for Blood Ninja to be able to follow up and complete that. He didn't want to be taking the attacks from SD there because of the double damage. You know, on the bottom lane, Speed has used his Chronosphere on Tango Wango, got him kind of low, as he'll time walk away, but not really going to bring back too much HP. So already, we're just about hitting that level 6 mark, and we start to see the combat brewing. The battles are beginning here, and we're going to have a lane observer ward getting placed by Zeg. So that's going to allow Tango Wango to relatively safely continue to sit in the bottom lane and farm away. But of course, with level 6, that means he's going to want to haunt on in and be a part of some kills that his teammates are going to try to set up. I think one of the big targets for them is going to want to be SD.
Is under attack.
Not the easiest hero for them to gank, but Zeg's sitting in the mid lane trying to set something up here. Or at least waiting over and protecting Blood Ninja. Osis did just complete his Vanguard as well, and now he's doing a little bit of creep skipping. Lane cutting, or whatever you want to call it. Goes past the tower, cuts out the creep wave. And that allows his creep wave to get to the tier 1 tower and put a lot more pressure on it. And it's very difficult for the enemy team to react to. But we've got SD rotating up. He's already popped the Exorcism. He's just going to run right in, using the Soul Siphon to drain a bunch of HP from Osis. And that axe is going to go down. He gets a taunt off, but the extra 40 armor not going to be enough to keep him alive as Tyrannosaurus X trying to run. His Icarus dives on cooldown for another 22 seconds, and he goes down. So we've got Orbit now taking the lead in terms of hero kills. They're ahead 4-3, but they did lose their tier 1 tower with that push. So creep skipping was somewhat effective for Watermelon Delight. They got what they were looking for. But with that rotation from the mid laner, that's one of the best ways to stop that axe shenanigans. And the Death Prophet made that rotation up almost immediately in response to Axe making that play. And Pip-Boy 3000 once again hiding in the trees off to the side of the lane, trying to set something up. They know that Zeg is there. Fortunately, they're not going to be able to get an opening here because the creep wave is going to push. Tyrannosaurus X doing a little bit of counter warding here. His Moonlight Bay is going to Arctic Burn and fly on in. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have too much to be able to slow down Zeg. If he had Winter's Curse, it would have been a lot easier, but I still don't think he got in range for that. Almost have level 6 up on the Phoenix, level 7 already on the Axe, level 5 on the Elder Titan. As we look at the Lion, who's level 4.5. Of course, we already looked at the Winter Wyvern, who's 3.5. Got 7 up on all the other big heroes, including 8 on both the Death Prophet and the Faceless Void.
Double damage.
So we hit that 10-minute mark, and
Radiant's
the
bottom tower is under attack.
Tome of Knowledge starts getting picked up. We just actually have one purchase. Just the Lion picked it up. We haven't had one from Watermelon Delight just yet. But Exorcism getting popped by SD here as Orbit looks to start taking those towers and start using and taking advantage of their pushing power. While that's going on though, Colors is getting chased around in his jungle, but looks like he'll be perfectly fine. Doesn't really have too much to worry about, and honestly, there's not a whole lot of lockdown on the side of Watermelon Delight that Colors really has to be worried about. Obviously, the Axe Taunt is one of the big ones, but we're going to have another Vanguard getting picked up as the Spectre picks one up, and now Chronosphere is going to catch Tyrannosaurus X. It's going to be the 5th kill on the board for Orbit. As Blood Ninja tosses in a tornado. I'm not sure if it caught anyone there on the backside of the fight. But another kill goes the way of Orbit, and we still haven't seen a Haunt in from Watermelon Delight, and they really haven't been in a position where they're getting kills. It's just really been them kind of getting picked off since we had 6 online for the Spectre. Tyrannosaurus X now has level 6. The Supernova is available for him, but take a look at our last hits. Our top 2 are still on the side of Watermelon Delight. Then it's actually the offlane Faceless Void of all heroes. So it's the Axe, the Spectre, then the offlane Faceless Void, then the Invoker, Lycan, and Death Prophet. All above 50 CS already. We're going to have Mask of Madness getting picked up by the Faceless Void. Axe is going to walk in, get a taunt off. We're going to toss out a Battle Hunger. Speed's going to have to time walk away. Now Lycan just adding on his Vlads. And I believe we had Boots, Arcane Boots picked up here by Winter Wyvern. Let's go into talking a little bit about the Spectre and why he picked up a Vanguard. This is really, really old stuff that we don't really see anymore. Is this Spectre going for Vanguard? It kind of used to be the build going Treads, Vanguard, and then get your Radiance. Or even Treads, Vanguard, Manta. Or Diffusal Manta was a build for a while, but we really don't see that much at all anymore. It's almost always the Spectre either going for the Radiance Rush or going with some kind of more mid-game oriented build then into Radiance, where he's getting something like an Urn or Drums or maybe both. Well, it looks like Tango Wango going with something a little different here, picking up the Vanguard. I talked about a little bit when the patch dropped in 6.8.7, and I've been talking about it a little bit recently of, you know, Vanguard, I predicted kind of we were going to see a little bit more of it, and we really haven't seen it utilized too much until recently when Anti-Mage Miracle's got a new build for the Anti-Mage where he picks up the Vanguard. And we're starting to see some more heroes pick it up. Of course, we have Axe pick it up this game, but that's kind of standard for him. Whether he picks it up early or a little bit later on when he's building a Crimson Guard. Either way, it's not the most unusual pick for him, but we're going to have an engage here as Chronosphere is going to come in from speed. We got a Supernova in the middle of the fight. Tornado's going to fly out. It's actually just going to hit the line, but misses most other targets. Winter Wyvern's going to be our first one that goes down, and there goes the there goes the Void. As Tango Wango getting kind of low, but he's going to be okay. In the back lines, Osis chops off the head of the lion. Now he's going to go after SD. He's going to get a taunt off, trying to pull the Death Prophet back, but she's not going to move. Exorcism's going to end and heal her right back to full. But still, now she's going to try to run, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. She's going to turn around with the Spirit Siphon. She's going to get the kill onto Zeg. Now, once again, getting taunted up by Osis. And she's not afraid of anything at all. She's just man-tanking all of this, despite the fact that she's a female. And oh, we're going to have a disconnect here from Moonlight Bay, and the automatic pause comes in. Hopefully they'll be able to reconnect shortly, and there they are already. But SD is just so manly in this team fight, and there's Moonlight Bay right next to him. And Tyrannosaurus X, 4 seconds before he's going to have access to Icarus Dive. And they're going to go after this Phoenix, and they're going to get it with the Carrion Swarm? Crypt Swarm. Man, I was going to call it Crypt Swarm, and I corrected myself in my head, and then I got it wrong. But wow, that was crazy. SD. When he was right here, and he got taunted by the Axe, and then his Exorcism ended, and he healed back up to full, and he started running, I was just like, okay. Exorcism down. He's got 3 heroes attacking him. He's slowed down. He's dead. But that just didn't happen. He turned around. He manned up on the Elder Titan. Got the kill onto Zeg. Then he started moving around, going after different targets. As I missed a kill in the mid lane, as Osis picked up his Blink Dagger and just jumped in, got a taunt off onto Pip-Boy. And that's a dead line. And that's going to even us up at 7 kills apiece. We'll open up our net worth in the top left, and we can see Axe is now number 1 at 6,600 net worth. As Zos is doing a little bit of farming, but he's got 3 heroes almost completely surrounded him here from orbit. We're actually going to have Tyrannosaurus X kind of orbiting on in with his Icarus Dive, but Osis is getting very, very low. He's going to try to run. He's going to get body blocked a little bit there by Tyrannosaurus X, but I don't think he was going to survive either way. We got an EMP getting dropped here. It's going to burn off all the mana, including all the mana of speed, so he's not going to be able to turn around in Chronosphere. Supernova is going to get used in the back, but not really going to do anything to anyone, as it looks like Orbit has already disengaged here. But Moonlight Bay wishes they didn't get caught by that stomp from Zeg. So they get 1 straggler and they'll go down, but we do end up with a kill apiece, so now we're still tied at 8 kills on either side. Still haven't really seen too many Spectre Haunts or anything like that from Tango Wango. But that has shook up our net worth. We now have the Lycan sitting at the top as he just breaks 7,000 net worth. Right behind him, though, is going to be both that Axe and the Death Prophet, both at 6,700. Then it's going to be our Spectre at 6,400. As the camera takes a while to catch up to Tango Wango here. Then we've got the Invoker at 6,300 or 6,400 as well. And then a little ways down, it's 5,200 before we see our Faceless Void. Overall, it's pretty even, I'd say, with a lot of the cores, but you do see a little bit of an advantage on certain dire side cores. But then you look towards the bottom, or even look at the Faceless Void. He's quite a bit below any of the other cores in the game, and then of course the supports. You see the effect of the dire side supports falling a little bit behind. We'll take a look at our gold graph in just a second, because we may have some action brewing in the top here as the tier 1 towers drop down to half HP. And SD, is he going to pop Exorcism? Yes, he is. There it is. And we're going to have a Chronosphere in the back line. It's going to lock down 2. Phoenix is going to be focused down, but we lose Winter Wyvern somewhere else in the fight as SD gets the tier 1 tower. And here comes Lycan just running in after the shapeshift. He's so fast. moves out of range of Zag's stomp and comes back in, collecting that kill there as Osis gets a little bit of damage there as he drops down to about half HP, but he's a tanky axe, so he'll be okay. Tango Wango was just farming the creeps next to all those dire side heroes. He'll back to close to his tier 2 tower, so he'll be safe. But the pace of this game definitely starting to pick up here, as we're starting to see the team fights continuing, and it's really not Watermelon Delight going on the offensive at all, and then having the haunts from the Spectre jumping on in. It's been pretty much Orbit, just push, and that's really where their draft is strong. You know, like I said, they kind of get in a position where they're pushed up on a tower, they're on the Radiant side of the map, and then they look to jump in, get a Chronosphere, get a pick off, and then on the back of that they're able to safely push a tower and capitalize on that little extra gold and snowball off the tower gold. And we're seeing a great example of that. Is the last fight was exactly that. They pushed up, they got to the tier 1 tower, they were all kind of posted up here, and then all of a sudden Faceless Void came leaping in, and we had a big Chronosphere. They got the kill, and at the same time they got the tier 1 tower as well. So great execution there from Orbit, and now they're still grouped up. They're going to go for this bottom tier 2 tower. They don't have Exorcism for another 40 seconds. And of course Watermelon Delight's going to know that. Question is what are they going to choose to do with this information? Are they just going to hard engage into Orbit here?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, they're going to do it onto the Winter Wyvern at least. As Osis jumps in, gets a taunt off, and it's once again a dead Winter Wyvern. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what Orbit was doing there. They like I said, they went to the bottom, they posted up on the tier 2 tower, and then all of a sudden Watermelon Delight showed a few heroes here, and they were pretty much ready to fight because they knew Exorcism wasn't up. So Orbit then backed away, but we're going to have a buyback here as there was a Roche attempt, but Watermelon Delight came on in. We're going to get the Haunt. Exorcism's back up. SC's going to pop that as they're going to focus down their first target as Speed's going to go down. Roche dies. Aegis going to get picked up by the Lycan as Colors gets a kill onto Phoenix. Now he's going to move on to the Axe, and he's going to trade kills there, but he's going to respawn with his Aegis, and Axe unfortunately will not. So we do have 2 kills going either side, but one of them respawns with the Aegis, so it's really just a 2-for-1. But it did cost them a buyback as well on the Winter Wyvern, which isn't displayed here in the show fight recap. But either way, it's indicating a gold advantage because of that 1 kill advantage. So about 800 gold swing in favor of Orbit, and they're going to look to once again push a tower, even though they don't have Exorcism up. With their Lycan, they could still probably push a tower here. Necrobook 2, or now 3, as the courier delivers the recipe, will be online very shortly as well. 10 seconds before that'll be up. But they're not going to be able to push. Watermelon Delight, they've respawned and they've gotten here in time. And we had another big item getting picked up, and that's going to be the Blade Mail on Osis, as this axe continues to just snowball and get crazy and get really scary. Unfortunately for Watermelon Delight, he's the hero that's really doing better than expected. Tango Wango, he's not super far behind. He's managed to stay out of the graveyard. He's managed to just keep trying to get some farm, as we see him picking up a Yasha, so maybe he is going into that old kind of Vanguard Manta build. But yeah, he's sitting at 8,500 net worth. He isn't doing spectacular. He's certainly not doing bad, but he isn't doing spectacular. It's just kind of, he's in an okay position. And similarly, Blood Ninja, same story. As he's going to get engaged on in the middle, but they're not going to be able to bring down this Invoker. But I think some of that might change with him having a Midas. His Finger Bang's going to pretty much delete Phoenix from the game there. His Colors pops a Shapeshift for this, and now he's going to want more. As he's going to start charging down the mid lane, he'll eventually stop on the creep wave. But with Exorcism popped, they're going to look to take advantage of this. It's got half of its duration left, and they should be able to bring down this tier 2 tower, although Glyph is available for Watermelon Delight. Tornado going to fly in. It's going to get dodged by SD. A Speed going to jump in, going to get a Chrono off on 2. Tier 2 tower goes down as well. Blood Ninja is the focus target. Here comes the crack from Zeg as he uses the Earth Splitter there. As Osis getting very, very low. So is Blood Ninja. Nice 3-man stun from Pip-Boy on the Lion. As Zag is trying to run. Faceless Void's gotten 2. He won't get the 3rd. It's going to go to SD. But with a couple buybacks here on the Elder Titan and the Invoker, Watermelon Delight going to look to punish Orbit for diving their tier 3 towers there. His Color's getting very, very low. 200 HP. He'll now get caught by a tornado and he'll go down as he craters coming down from it. SD also getting picked off, and Tyrannosaurus X gets another kill as he drops Moonlight Delight, and wow, Speed managed to get the kill on the Phoenix right before he went down to Tango Wango. But huge advantage there for Watermelon Delight as they get a whole bunch of kills before Orbit are able to exit their base. But it did cost them 2 buybacks, and we see the result of that, about a 700 gold swing still in favor of Orbit.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So was it worth? Maybe. You fell behind 700 gold, but that doesn't mean it wasn't worth it. It's important to slow your opponent's momentum, and I realize you're giving them gold, but you've slowed their momentum. You've definitely defended your tier 3 towers. You've defended your base, and you've punished them for going with the aggressive play. Maybe next time they're going to think better of it. Maybe they don't even realize that that was a 700 gold swing. I know that situation's hard to read as a player when that stuff happens. So maybe next time Orbit think a little bit better about diving deep and really pushing and going super aggressive on the side of Watermelon Delight. And if they've kind of messed with the mindset of Orbit, then maybe that's created a little bit of space for Watermelon Delight to buy them a little bit of time. Create that space for the Spectre so he can continue to farm, and you kind of get closer and closer to that late game. And we see Relic has been picked up by Tango Wango. So Radiant isn't going to be too far out. As we'll quickly bring up our gold graph, because I know I promised I'd bring it up a while ago. But it's about a 2,000 gold lead here for our Dire side. We've got an engage here, and that might change. As Speed's going to get his head chopped off by Osis. But that could be the only kill here, although Blood Ninja drops into QQ Walk, and he's going to start chasing. But he's going to chase right into a silence, and as soon as that comes out, he turns around, and we even have a Dust getting used there by Pip-Boy. Unfortunately, it won't catch the Invoker, but he was pretty much disengaged anyways. But we'll quickly bring back up our gold graph, so it's now only 1,000 gold lead for Orbit. As for XP, it's actually in favor of Watermelon Delight, but just about 2,500 or so in their favor. So still very, very close game. Definitely anyone's at this point. As we're going to have a smoke getting used there, as both the Winter Wyvern and the Lion are going to get under the effects of that. Yeah, they look for an opening, they don't find it. As they're going to back away as the scan's going to get used there by the Radiant side, trying to know if there's any Dire side heroes in this area so that they can safely farm the creep wave up to here and then think a little bit better about moving out. They'll probably move out together as well as they leave their base. They're actually grouped up completely right now as well. Do they have any smokes? No, not on any of their heroes. Maybe the couriers picked one up? Not yet. Well, either way, we got a little bit of lag here, so everyone's just kind of waiting here. But that gives us enough time to bring up our items and see what we have. It looks like we've got a Veil in the works for the Phoenix. Midas and Aghanim Scepter completed by the Invoker, now up to 300 gold. Of course, we pointed out the Relic on the Spectre. He's at 1,000 gold, so getting close to his Radiance. But he went with a little bit of a different build, so the late Radiance timing isn't really that late because he went Vanguard Yasha and then he picked up the Relic. We've got Vlad's up on Zeg to counteract the Vlad's picked up by the Lycan a little bit earlier on. We've got Crimson Guard completed from Osis's early Vanguard as well. Blink Dagger and Blade Mail. Yeah, let's see how much gold he's at. Also at just around 200 gold. Onto the Dire side where we've got Speed. He's picked up his Mask of Madness, but also added on a Blink Dagger. He's sitting at 1,400 gold, so another item's not that far off for him. Moonlight Bay, just sitting with a Buckler at the moment. And your other typical support items. Pip-Boy 3000 picked up his Blink Dagger, as we pointed out. SD SD, he had the first item, Aether Lens, but he then later on added a Yule Scepter, and now he's added on a Soul Booster as well. So looks like Octarine's going to be coming out for him shortly. And then our Lycan, colors, he's got Necrobook 3, Vlad, and a Plate Mail, so that'd probably be AC, as he's sitting at 2100 gold as well. There we go, we're all caught up, and other thing to note, Blade of Alacrity was picked up by the Faceless Void. So a little insight into what future items he could be building. And Watermelon Delight. Looks like they're going to defend their tier 2 tower. This is one of the harder to defend towers in the game, but Exorcism's already been popped by SD. So it looks like Orbit's here to stay. And we might have a clash here. As what's going on with the Spectre? He's very, very close to having enough. He's actually going to sit in Fountain. Waiting. He's going to sell his TP even, so he's got his Radiance completed. As he starts marching, well, not down towards the bottom lane. He's going to head back towards the mid. What? Tornado's going to fly in. It's going to catch SD in colors. There's another nice Chronosphere coming out from Speed, but a counteract Earth Splitter there from Elder Titan. As SD and Moonlight Bay getting kind of low here, and Moonlight Bay is going to go down, but Tango Wango very, very low as the Lycan tries to chase him down, but Colors needed one more swipe. He won't find it. Instead, the Wolf lies on the ground, as now we've got the two remaining members here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
The two remaining members from Orbit looking to escape, and they do so, as we had SD run away, and also Speed was able to get on out of there through teleport as well. But on the back of that, Watermelon Delight looked to take their second tower of the game. Their first one was very, very early, that tier 1 tower from the Axe kind of cutting the wave. But they'll look to take their second tower there, and there it goes, as they take the bottom tier 1. Still the mid tier 1 standing though.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They don't care about the mid tier 1. They're going to pressure the tier 2 in the bottom lane as well. Pip-Boy's hanging out, waiting. See if maybe there's a rotation from his teammates. And we can see on the minimap, SD and Moonlight Bay are kind of coming in. Now we're going to have a TP from Colors. So they get the tier 2 tower down to about a third HP. And then they back away, so it'll be prime for the taking next time they win a team fight, if they win a team fight. But that last fight was looking pretty scrappy for Watermelon Delight. With that Radiance online, they were looking pretty good in the fight, but they almost lost their Spectre. Had Colors gotten the kill there on Tango Wango, that very well could have changed the face of the fight. We still would have had Colors dying though, so it still would have been both hard carries going down in a trade, but it certainly would have changed the posture of both teams, I think, if that Spectre was either dead or alive. A little bit of an unorthodox pickup here, as we have a mech completed by the Invoker, as they look for a pick here on the Lycan, who's going to hide in the trees below where the tier 1 tower used to be. But unfortunately, they're not looking there. They're looking at the side shop. The White Colors is long, long gone. He's TP'd up to the top tier 2 and started farming his jungle. He's up to 2,700 gold, so still working on that AC. Still just with the plate mail. As SD looks like he's going to be working on a pipe, and there's that Blade of Alacrity. It's built into a diffusal blade for speed. It's going to be coming in on the courier. Another 2,100 gold up on Tango Wango. I imagine he's going to build that Yasha into a Manta now. A scan from Watermelon Delight in this area will at least see some heroes passing through. They don't know, of course, which direction. But Elder Titan's going to send in a Spirit. And although he won't find anything, he does give them the information of which direction they were going. And now there's a circle getting drawn on the map by the Axe as Pip-Boy 3000 rotates right through it. He's in Viz. They can't see him, but they're indicating that there's at least one hero. At least there was one hero there from Orbit. Is unfortunately we're going to have another pause here as Moonlight Bay continues to have some disconnect issues here, but coming right back immediately. The last pause, the players are making a little bit of a joke about the hamsters that are running the router. Welcome back. And look at that. We've got Ultimate Orb picked up by Spectre, so it looks like Manta is going to be the next item. What else do we have here? Veil completed on the Phoenix. Another 1,300 gold as well. We got 2,300 gold up on the Axe. We'll wait to see what his next item is going to be. I think Shiva's is a pretty popular pick for him, and maybe one that he's going to go for here. Of course, Force Staff is another option as well. He's going to have a blink forward from Pip-Boy. He's going to find Tyrannosaurus X. Stun, Hex. He's going to drop into the Supernova. His color is going to start attacking him. A few of them are attacking, but they're not going to be able to bring down that egg. And now Moonlight Bay is caught in a really, really bad spot. As the Winter Wyvern, will he be able to get away? The answer is going to be no. Deafening Blast hits him there, but it is Tyrannosaurus X that gets the kill with the Sunbeam. It has been a rough game for that Winter Wyvern, now at a record of 1-9-9. Well, here we go, Osis looking for some kills. He knows there's some heroes hanging around here, but with Color's positioning, as he walked out like that, and with such confidence, Osis clearly knew something was up, and he read that situation perfectly, because there were two heroes sitting in the trees off to the side. Blood Ninja, with that little bit of space, was pushing the tier 1 tower in the mid, but we had a couple heroes TP back there to defend. So he'll back away, but interesting game so far. 37 kills in 32 minutes. So like I said, not the most eventful, but certainly not the quietest either. We're still over a kill a minute. Let's actually bring up our kills, death, and assists and see who's doing really, really well. As we're looking at SD right now, who's sitting at 6-1-5, which is a pretty damn good record. But then, you know, you can't discount Blood Ninja, who's at 3-1-10. That's a pretty damn good record as well. And then you got 2-0-10 on the Spectre as well. So 3 pretty impressive records there. And that's allowed them each to get a good chunk of gold, as the Lycan's the only one really up there who doesn't really have the best record, as he's sitting at 4-3-10 right now. And of course he went for that trade, his life for the Spectre in that earlier fight, which ended up just being his life.
Dire's middle tower.
Tier 1 tower actually goes down to the Forge Spirits. They don't get the deny. Speaking of colors, he just completed his AC, as we're going to have an engage here, as the Yule Scepter is going to get used on the Elder Titan. Zag's going to get silenced and just hit by a Crypt Swarm. But there's not going to be any further engage. We'll check Roche. He's definitely up. Elder Titan was starting to send in his Spirit, but it eventually got out of range, and they're going to go for Roche here. This is risky. Oh, they're going to back out. I'd really like to see them have a Blightstone on this team. It would be nice to have a Desolator, but I'd really like to see a Blightstone. They do so much physical damage that minus armor would actually go a long way, and it would certainly help speed up a Roche attempt as well. It's definitely a nice item for them to have, even just like a casual one to help speed up the process. And speaking of speed, he's got a Yasha in his stash, so another item is going to be coming out soon. Probably Manta for him. 2,800 gold and a plate mail on Osis, so probably going to be his Shivas. As we're going to get a Hex onto the Phoenix, but they're just going to disengage on the back of that, as Pip-Boy realized that it wasn't a good situation.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
As Tyrannosaurus X just giving us a good example of what Sunray looks like, but not really connecting with any enemies. Scan getting used, and ooh, it's going to see colors. And as he's going to pass away, did they actually see him there? I don't think so. Now they're actually going to have to check Roche Pit. And they're going to see that he's not there, so they know that it was either someone going this way or this way. And weird. Blood Ninja now picks up Guardian Greaves. This is an unusual build for an Invoker. Midas, Aghanim Scepter, Mech Guardian Greaves. Very weird. Very, very weird. Unless this is some kind of new meta build that I'm just not aware of. It's quite unusual. As we're going to get a taunt off here onto SD, who's going to use himself to buy himself a little bit of time, but also to dodge the EMP. Tango Wango in the back lines has picked up 2 kills. Now he's going to jump in and go onto Colors, who will just drop into wolf form and run away. This should be a free tier 2 tower for Watermelon Delight. It's not getting mentioned in chat. Oh yeah, they memed VEC, Vegetable Esports, or Veggie Esports Club. And is that Watermelon Delight? Are these the guys who 5-man mid? That was a really entertaining game. I didn't clue it. I think you might be right on that one. But Speed's gonna jump in, gonna get the Chrono. It's just gonna be on the Spectre though. Crack's gonna come in from the Elder Titan. It's going right down the center. It's gonna land just onto Speed, who will then jump away. But Tango Wango, as tanky as he is, he's starting to take a lot of damage, and he's gonna go down. Is this gonna be the hold that Orbit needs? I don't know. They just lost 3 heroes. They're gonna have a buyback onto Speed. Osis now on the run as he's getting soul siphoned. There's the finger bang from Pip-Boy to finish him. And with 2 heroes dead on the Watermelon Delight, it looks like they're just going to try to disengage as best as they can. Blood Ninja drops into the QQ walk, but he's going to leave Tyrannosaurus X behind. And Zag tries to run out the other side. And now he's going to get hexed up. He's going to get a bunch of his mana sucked away from him. And now it's just a question of will he be able to deny himself to the Ancients. He won't even get there. So Watermelon Delight, they get what they came for, I guess. They got some kills, they got the tier 2 tower, but then they tried to go for that tier 3 and they stayed way too long. And a couple buybacks, maybe just one actually. It's only showing 1 here. Yeah, well, it's 2 buybacks for them, and they end up killing 4 heroes before they're able to get away. Leading first and foremost with the kill on the Spectre. We'll take a quick look at our gold graph, just waiting for it to update here. As looks like we're going to have Orbit going into Roche Pit. Let's take a quick look, and wow, that went up in a hurry. Watermelon Delight took off in the last about 10 minutes or so. Really blew this game wide open. 15,000 gold lead for them. And it's actually evened out a little bit. So it's still not coming down. XP is also heavily in favor of Watermelon Delight as Orbit continues to do Roche here, but it's only down to 4k HP. Gnosis comes in and distracts them a little, or he's getting distracted a little bit by SD and Speed, as they're going to have a Chrono go down, and Gnosis going to get focused down, but Speed, ooh, Time Walk will actually give him back most of his HP, as there goes Roche. Color's going to pick up the Aegis. Yule Scepter going to get used on Tango Wango. There's got an Icarus dive coming in from Tyrannosaurus X, but Color's going to use his Aegis very, very early on there. SD after getting 4-staffed away. As looks like he'll get away, and oh, Moonlight Bay disconnects at a terrible, terrible time. And the automatic pause comes in, and he's dead, says Watermelon Delight. Of course, it's not really fair to unpause when someone's dead, because you never know if they're able to buy back or whatever, but we know that they can't. But either way, Moonlight Bay has reconnected in Colors. On the run here, Tango Wango, Tyrannosaurus X, and Zag all doing some damage here, and now he's going to turn back, and Blood Ninja is going to be there as well. So Lycan's going to go down as Pip-Boy. He was standing there, and he almost got caught by that tornado. He blinked in kind of a weird way. But they'll get out of there, and this courier is going on a mission to go buy something. What's it going to be? Mystic Staff. For who? SD. So probably... oh, Octarine, of course. I was thinking he had already completed the Octarine. I was thinking maybe Shiva's or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be the Octarine completed for him. We've got, of course, the AC up onto Lycan. We've got the Force by Pip-Boy, which we saw get used for the first time there to save SD, as he was desperately running from a bunch of heroes from Watermelon Delight through the river. Mech up on Winter Wyvern, and that should be everything here for our Dire side. As for our Radiant side, we'll quickly cycle through them as well, as we've got Veil and now a Lotus Orb on Tyrannosaurus X. Invoker with still a very, very unusual build. He's up to 4,400. I'm interested to see what his next item is going to be. Zag just completed Heaven's Halberd. Spectre also just completed an Abyssal, but he's also picked up a Reaver. This is a rich Spectre now. And Axe. What does Axe have? Shiva's Guard completed, 1,200 gold on hand. He'll start working towards his next item, which I don't know. I'm not even going to venture a guess on what that's going to be. Maybe he does go for the Force Staff at this point. Well, it's a little bit weird to pick up the Force Staff now, but maybe he could feel that he needs it or something. Besides that, I have no idea what he's going to pick up in this situation. Tornado's going to land on just the Death Prophet, but they're not going to be able to follow that up. It would be kind of suicidal to jump into that. Right now we stand 27-22. Watermelon Delight leading in terms of hero kills, leading in terms of net worth, as they're over 15,000 gold ahead. And right now in the driver's seat, especially with what I believe to be the stronger late game as well, with the Spectre, the Invoker, and you know there's some factors in that also go overlooked. Natural Order is damn strong, especially when you get to the late game. It's a lot stronger early on because it's just base armor, and it doesn't affect the additional armor that you get from items like AC or something like that. So it's only pretty much getting rid of that 9. It's not getting rid of the full plus 19. So Lycan's still going to have 19 armor when you get rid of all of it from Natural Order. But still, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of extra damage that you're taking that you're not really used to taking at that point in the game, in this stage of a game, when you're used to having the certain kind of items that you do and how big your opponents are. It's easy to overlook Natural Order and the amount of right-click damage that can be coming in. Speed's just completed his Manta. Seen a bunch more people in the chat as well, and I see a little bit of confirmation there on the fact that it was Watermelon Delight that did go for the 5-man mid strat against Veggie Esports in the middle of major open qualifiers. I'm not sure if you guys followed me on that when I kind of spoke about it earlier, but this team, they had someone who had to go. They got deep into the open qualifiers in, was it round of 64? I think it was the round of 64 it happened, because both times they ran into Evernovas, or Evernova. I always confuse the one. The one without Demon, Derp's team. They ran into them both times, both qualifiers in the round of 32. But so this must have been the round of 64 where they ran into Watermelon Delight. And Watermelon Delight unfortunately had to have one of the players had to go write an exam, so they didn't have time to play a full game. So they said, you know what? We've just got this one game, and then we go on to the next day. So let's go for some cheese. They went for a level 1 Roche, and Merlini called it perfectly and countered them. But we got an engage here. We'll have story time later. Speed's going to get picked off here. Crack's going to go. It's actually not going to catch anyone, as Pip-Boy was able to just get far enough away. Moonlight Bay is also trying to run away, and he's going to get locked down by that Abyssal from the Spectre. So 2 heroes dead on the side of Orbit, and neither of them have buyback. And Watermelon Delight start to hit the valuable structures, start hitting the tier 3 towers, which will expose the racks. As Osis is going to get a Blink Taunt off onto SD, but he already has the Exorcism up, so they've got to be wary of that. A lot of damage coming out from the Death Prophet right now. But the tier 3 has fallen. Tango Wango now is going to start working on the melee racks. As Sleep, going to go on to SD there. As Osis jumps in, but immediately gets caught by a stun from the line. As they still keep doing damage to this melee racks, and Pip-Boy is going to go down. Now just 2 heroes left to defend here. It's going to be 3 as Winter Wyvern's about to respawn. But we've got both melee and range racks down in the mid lane, and Blood Ninja he wants to stick around. He's going to exit at the top of this base here. Are they going to start working on this tier 3 tower? They still have 2 heroes dead on the side of Orbit. They certainly have the potential to, as Yule's going to toss the Spectre up in the air. And SD with Exorcism down is a juicy target, and they're going to go on him. But Cold Embrace keeping him alive for a while, but eventually it wears off and he goes down. SD's going to buy back into the game immediately. But it's still just 3 heroes left on the side of Orbit to defend. 10 seconds more before we're going to have the Void, 15 more for the Lion. But they're not going to have any racks left in the top lane before that's going to happen, as the melee racks is about to fall. There it is. It's down. Winter's Curse. Huge Winter's Curse from Moonlight Bay. They overlap it a little bit with the Chronosphere. Maybe a little bit of a misplay there, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, even if it was perfectly executed. As we still don't have a death here from Watermelon Delight, and SD is going to go down 107 seconds before we're going to have the Death Prophet back up. Effectively a dieback, and it's going to be a GG called. As Watermelon Delight going to take the Semi-Pro Cup Series this week. So you know what? They had to go for the 5-man level 1 Roche against Veggie Esports, and then they had to go for the 5-man just kind of rush down mid-strat, and it almost worked for them. It actually looked pretty good going up against Veggie Esports in that open qualifiers for the Manila Major, but they kind of became they had their 15 seconds of fame, I guess, on the Dota 2 subreddit, where everyone was talking about them, and even in Capitalist and Blitz, and I think a few other members of Veggie Esports even kind of made some comments, sent out some tweets, saying that it was a fun game, it was a great game going up against them. But we never really got to see what kind of players Watermelon Delight were, and it's great that we actually got to see them here in the Semi-Pro Cup Series, and we got to see them do quite well. It was a tough road. There was a lot of good teams in Semi-Pro Cup Series tonight, and a lot of them didn't make it too deep because they ran into some difficulty along the way. We had some really good matchups. Like I said, we had our last week's champs knocked out in the first round. We had our 2 week ago champs knocked out in, I believe, round 3. Maybe it could have been round 4. But it was very, very early on, or relatively early on, certainly not making it to the finals. Well, actually, I can check, see if it was the semifinals. No, yeah, it was oh no, yeah, they got knocked out in the other semifinals, the Big Dick Dota. But still, like, 2 really strong teams that we've seen have success in the past as well. And then of course Hup Holland Hup, which we haven't seen for a while, but they've certainly won some SCSs as well and still not making it to the finals. So Watermelon Delight in I'd say a pretty stacked Semi-Pro Cup Series this week. Take it. So we get to see exactly what kind of players they are, and they are pretty damn good. It would have been interesting to see them go in a full game where they didn't feel rushed going up against Veggie Esports. That would have been really, really fun, but unfortunately we were denied that because of an exam and education and school and all that silly stuff. But yeah, we get to see them here, and it was a really, really fun game. So congratulations to Watermelon Delight. Also, congratulations to Orbit. They played a hell of a game. Certainly they got to the finals. That's something respectable as well. Obviously, Moonlight Bay had some connection issues there, so 13-11 record, you can't really, harp on that too much. It's not the best record. It's kind of a feeding record, but even still, they played a pretty damn good game. But Watermelon Delight were just a better team here, and they take it this week for the Semi-Pro Cup Series. That's going to do it for me tonight, guys. Just the one game tonight. I was Niz. Hopefully you enjoyed the cast. Hopefully you'll come back next Sunday, either playing as a team at semiprodota.com or just coming back as a spectator. Either way, hit that follow button on twitch.tv/NizCast, and I'll tweet whenever I go live at NizCast as well. If you miss the games, you want to check them out, or a game, I guess, I upload all the games I cast to my YouTube. It's a place where I archive all my casts. That's youtube.com/NizCast. I'm a little bit backlogged, but I'm still getting stuff uploaded from all the stuff I've been casting with the Dota 2 Canada Cup. But either way, guys, we'll see you again next Sunday, or I'm not sure exactly when the next Dota 2 Canada Cup cast that I'll be doing is either, but either way, I'll tweet that out. And in the bottom left, right below the stream, I'll also let you guys know when my next cast is going to be as soon as I know. But once again, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you again next Sunday.